So after we'll see this presentation and we read the book of Exodus, we will be able to put together the places to the text. And I arranged my pictures and video clips in the chronological order of the biblical story. And for location and distance perspective, I have this map, starting first of all to see where Moses started from. The red flag is where he had to flee from in Egypt, and then crossed this peninsula, which was Egyptian peninsula at that time, and into the ancient Midian. And where you see this black dot is where he met his future father-in-law and wife, and where he settled.
So just so everyone doesn't misunderstand you, this is when Moses fled after he killed the Egyptian. This is not the Exodus route itself.
Yes, it's where he had to flee from first of all in Egypt. Yes. So other reference, we have Israel right here. This is Israel, and then Kingdom of Jordan and Saudi Arabia today here. So ancient Midian, and this is the area of our interest. So again, closer, Gulf of Aqaba, which is like here, if we have in mind these two gulfs, the main body of Red Sea is down here, but Gulf of Aqaba is where we look at this area. So this red flag now is where the real Mount Sinai is, and Al-Bada is the current city where Jethro lived in the past. So where the black dot was before, today is called Al-Bada. So this is where he looked after his father-in-law flocks, and at Mount Sinai he saw and met Jehovah in the burning bush. So this is a courtesy to Discover Sinai, Andrew Jones' ministry, and he was the one who led our tour. Okay, we don't have sound yet. I sat in the back seat in the middle in the first car, which was a great opportunity, and filmed. And it's like we are there. When I look again at these video clips, it's like I'm there again. And I'm trying to get the sound working. And here Andrew explaining different things. And I don't get that button.
You may have to go back out and come back in on your share. And those two buttons are on there.
Let me see, because I did that. As I
okay.
Share sound, it's clicked. Still there's no sound, hey?
There was an X with the sound right below his right hand.
Okay, thank you, Ella. That should do it. Right there.
Closed. Something's open 24. Oh, yeah. Ready?
Yeah.
We're driving up to what's known as the tombs of Shuaib or Jethro. And this is a Nabatean tomb site that possibly they reused the Midianite tombs. And there's a strong tradition of Jethro living here. And then out here in this oasis of El-Bad is the traditional well of Moses, where he met his wife Zipporah.
Zipporah, right?
Zipporah. which is interesting that so she was definitely dark-skinned, but
So welcome to the area where Moses started his family. Very large, very huge plains. And we came up to here where there's a museum and these typical tombs, typical to Middle Eastern, where there's a room in the back and they gather the old bones so they can reuse the spots for burial and store them here in the back. That's why the expression gathered to the ancestors.
7.
Is this a typical village?
Yeah,
Or
or
town?
town. Yeah,
Town.
this is a Saudi town. Ooh, looks like the tour bus. Oh, that's a school bus. The tour bus.
This is the well, no?
That's the well site. Well, put all these new signs up, but let's have a space you can put the English one.
So this is the Well of Moses, a fenced area marked as an archaeological site, and the locals, they call it the Well of Moses. I put my phone through the fence, I could take these pictures. Of course, there's no water today. The underground water moves over so many thousands of years. There's like a reservoir here, and from the well, there's a channel that they collected water to have water. So this is in a very close distance. We drove very shortly from the museum where the tombs were to here, and from here, another short drive to the old city of Jethro. And you notice this fence is also fenced for further archaeological work. At the moment, there's no dig done, but just to see where Jethro's town was and where Moses lived.
So here we are in the city of Jethro. It's well known in this place for two reasons. First, because the city is called Madan Shu'aib, and Shu'aib in the Quran is Jethro. That's very clear. Okay, there's no doubt about that, because in the Quran you have this very similar story to the Bible where Moses finds his wife. It's a little bit more romantic, oriental, more Jewish tradition in it, as the Quran has a lot. So details that are not in the Bible, not very important. You can read it if you want. If you're interested, you can take the Quran and read it. Why not? We're in Arabia, so we should do that. And the second reason is because he is Midian. Obviously, it's Midian because for 2,200 years at least, it had been continuously called Midian by the people. So that's a long time. So if your Bible tells you that Midian is on the other side, put a question point, but it's here. So that's enough evidence that Moses came here and that he crossed the Red Sea more or less, first through the Gulf of Aqaba and then with his people to come here to see his father-in-law and his family. Okay, so in this place, there's a huge place. As you see, there's a big oasis here, a lot of flowers, trees, mangoes, peaches, everything you want. So tropical and European fruits, oranges, of course, Mediterranean fruits. And there are basically 5 archaeological sites here, right? 2 up there, probably more recent. The tombs, which are Nabateans, very similar to what some of you have seen in Petra, or what you can see in Madame Saleh, about 20 kilometers from here, 250. Yeah, Al-Ula, yeah. Very nice place. You have to go there someday. Really, really worth the day. The Nabateans lived much later, about 500 BC until 150 after Christ. Yep. But this is more ancient, and nobody really knows what it is in the sense that it has not been digged. So there are this place, the tombs, 2 other places where we don't know what it is, and another one that is excavated right now by French people. So if there's an old city, that's the old one, right?
They did find Midianite pottery here. It's
The
in the
one part-
literature.
Yeah, and you can find walls also. You see walls. However, the walls on the front might be much younger, I think. They're not so old.
You go up top.
I'm double checking with you guys. Do you hear well? Do you hear me well? I need some feedback that
Yes, ma'am.
sound. Okay, so imagine when this will be excavated, this is 3,500 years of sandstorm and heat and rain, and so under this dirt is the ruins of the city of Jethro. So in the same area, a short distance, we went to a vista point where Andrew pointed us where the mountain would be.
Ready? Over here to the east, you can see the western side of Mount Sinai, the Jebel Allah's range. The pyramid-shaped peak is the north peak, the tallest peak of the Jebel Makla. And the one to the right is the one we hiked up yesterday. Jebel Allah is behind this radio tower here. It's the tallest peak in Northwest Arabia. And over past these hills, there's a wadi called Wadi Musa. And if this is Jethro's hometown and he was taking care of Jethro's sheep, then Moses would have taken the sheep to get to Mount Sinai. There's only one big wadi that goes from here to over there. And it's even today called Wadi Musa. And that would take you to the west side of Mount Sinai. And so in this valley, he would have taken the sheep based on seasonal migration up into the mountains and then back down. 40 years doing that. So, yeah, please stay back.
So from there, we go to the crossing of the Red Sea spot. And again, the Gulf of Aqaba here, Gulf of Suez on the left. And where we see this white dot is the beach of Nueva, and it's where the Israelites crossed. They came through this another Wadi Watir, Pharaoh chasing them. So this is the place where they crossed and came on the other side. So all my pictures are here on this side. We haven't done any of the Egypt. So in passing one evening, we came to the spot where the crossing point is. Another day we came and dedicated the whole half of the day, but this was when we first came by the crossing area, and you see this like a V in the back. That's the Canaan. They came through, the Israelites with Moses and Pharaoh army chasing them, and this white spot here is the Nueva beach where they started to cross. Yes, I was there. And then I did a video clip starting from my feet and then turned 180 degrees to see where they came out of the water.
The Red Sea crossing on the Saudi side, but on the other side is Egypt. Nueva beach, where the Israelites crossed. And this is where they landed on the other side.
It's awesome. It makes sense that such a large group of people could come through the water and then have this space to spread out. So this is the day when we came back in the day. So the same, the Wadi Watir in Egypt, Nueva Beach. Close up. Here I was Egypt. Those of us who wanted to swim and snorkel, we could do it. I would have not missed this chance.
How far
Mountains
across
of-
from shore to shore?
It is 10 miles from shore to shore, 17 kilometers. So now it says that they, Israelites went into the wilderness of Shur. So just ignore this modern road, the asphalt, and imagine this is spacey area for Israelites to walk. So this is the wilderness of Shur. And after this, we'll have the area which is believed to have been Marah incident with the bitter waters.
This range of mountains is like a wall between the Red Sea and the inland. And so this is basically the wilderness of Shur. And if you remember the biblical account, they journey 3 days into Shur to find water. And then they find the bitter water of Marah. So this is a possible site for Marah. And so it is a place where water does come drain. And so when you get like spring rains, it does have water like standing around, pools of water. It is also a Hajj, on the Hajj route going to Mecca. This was a station going from Hakel here to Al-Bada on the way to Mecca. And so you are within a 3 days walk from the Red Sea crossing beach to here. Then from here you can go down south.
Where is it?
They're saying that, well, so Sylvain wanted me to show you this, basically this whole basin.
Gotcha.
It goes way up there to down in here.
Okay.
Yeah. And then a split rock, you can see the radar tower way up. It's like much.
Notice this semi-truck here. And notice how the road is leveled. This is all construction equipment and machineries to put infrastructure in place for NEOM project, which is a huge touristic project in Saudi Arabia in this area. And then we'll see a couple of the oases where the Israelites and Moses stationed.
We are now approaching the Magna Oasis, and it's called the Springs of Moses. Ayun Musa spring is Ayun.
Springs of Moses.
And because there's water bubbling up in the ground, it's a very big oasis, maybe much bigger in the old days, but even today it's really big. Now, tradition has that there are 12 springs in the past here. Some people say this is Elim. For those who have a route going through this area, it could fit better the oasis of Numbers 33, 9, and 10, where they camp at the Red Sea. We're here at Magna. It is a coastal oasis that has a very strong tradition that Moses was here with the Israelites. And so it's known, old ancient times as the Springs of Moses, or Ayin Musa. And you can see the springs here. Now, some of the tradition has that there used to be 12 springs.
So we started to explore around, and it is huge. I left my sandals, I was barefoot. Then I went down to those palm trees. And I didn't expect to be this huge. You will hear my footsteps, and I was barefoot. And then this is another one, and it's called Wadi Taibism. And over here on top, if you notice, this is the emblem of the NEOM project. Sorry.
Yeah, and we left that zoo.
Andrew opened the sunroof of the car, and I got up and took pictures and videos like this, and then turned around and took the cars coming behind us. And these mountains, they can be seen from space.
Wow. So there are 3 groves
Total is 12.
of this.
If you try to count it,
So we explored around. This time I kept my sandals on. I learned my lesson, and I noticed this. I thought it's a cave, and I came just passage into the wall of the mountain. And then I went inside the oasis. Was so cool. The air was
So nice and cool in the oasis. And there's water. Mergem pe jos,
and
într-un canion,
we parked the car.
ne ajungem la Marea
And only the
Roșie.
drivers to get to the other side. We only could walk through here. It's breathtaking. The week before we arrived, they had a storm, and a brook would come in and out through this canyon, like going underground and then coming up again.
Wow. Wow. The sun is going down, reflecting. Wow. Beautiful oasis all along this canyon.
So then we came out of it to the Red Sea. This is a kid in a candy store. I was screaming like DiCaprio on top of Titanic. This is the day when we went to the split rock. Again, look how they work on these roads. The moment when the split rock came into our sight, look how small this pickup truck is. So this is the rock of Horeb. Also, when you hear the name Rephidim, is the same thing. Rephidim, rock of Horeb, they both refer to this rock. And you park in front of it.
So, and Dr. Kim, when he was here in 2000, his first trip with his family, when he got interested in looking for Mount Sinai, because he read these old Ron Wyatt newsletters, he went to Albada, because it was on the map, it had Jethro's home, and he asked the locals, how do I get to Jebel Musa, the mountain of Moses? And the local said, you take Wadi Musa, the valley of Moses. And so he took it, and that's the only way to the west side. He basically probably followed the footsteps of Moses with the sheep, how he went from Jethro's home to the west side. So anyways, Rephidim, in the story, this is where Jethro finally meets up with the Israelites. So somewhere he's living nearby, he brings Moses' family, who had been left behind. But some key events happen here. Number one, in Exodus 17 and 18, the story about Rephidim, it says they come here and there's no water. So the Israelites start complaining. And then God tells Moses, strike the rock of Horeb. And what's interesting is, look around you. There's all these rocks. How would you know, no matter where you want to put Rephidim, if it's back in Egypt or here, there has to be some type of rock that Moses would know, like the rock of Horeb, something that would stand out. Now, I met a South African guide at the Golden Calf altar site, and this was a year ago, and he said they had just met a local. The local's name was. The guy said he was born at the base of this mountain, at the base of this rock. But his name, this South African guide was telling me, he said that the guy's name was Muhammad of the Rock. And so all the locals know him because it's like, where are you born? Like, I'm Andrew from Sacramento. Well, this guy was Muhammad from the Rock. And they knew, oh, that rock, because it's a monument. It stands out out of all the other rocks around. And so when God told Moses, strike the rock of Horeb, it has to be something prominent that would make sense. And on top of that, you think about, well, this rock has to be, like, if the water is going to come out of it, and it says in Psalm like 78 or 105 or somewhere, it says that there's rivers of water. So if it's and then it says the rock that gave a shadow in the dry and weary desert, I think in Isaiah. So it has to be a big rock. And it says in Psalms that he clave the rocks in the wilderness. It has to be split. It has to be a rock that, where if water came out like rivers, it would drain through the encampment. So again, back to where we drove through, you have this, only this area, on this side of the mountain, we have a huge plain where the Israelites encamped, and later, on the outskirts, they would fight the Amalekites the next day or whenever the Amalekites finally showed up. Probably maybe the Amalekites they saw the Israelites, and then they see all this water, like, where is this water coming from?
That's ours.
Let's control the source of this. So all this has to happen to Rephidim. And then later, Jethro shows up. So you have and then they organize the judges, or, so they kind of get organized here before they continue on. So you have three key events. You have water coming from a rock at Rephidim, you have the battle with the Amalekites, and then you have Jethro showing up.
And close to the mountain.
Yeah, and then when in Exodus 18, it says when Jethro showed up, he said he met Moses at the mountain of God. And then in Exodus 17, it calls it the rock of Horeb. And so you have these key names and events happening. So you had to find a place somewhere near Mount Sinai that would fit all that, and this so far is the only place.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Mount Sinai cannot be seen from this angle. It's all over these ridges, but it's not far because that would be the next station.
About after so the first event was the complaining, and then they have the water coming out, and so they're here for I don't know how long. The Bible doesn't say. They could have been here a week or a couple days, but sometime soon after that, the Amalekites attack. And remember, they said the next day you go out and you attack. Moses is on a hill and he has his hands up. And every time his hands are up, they're winning the battle. And then, Aaron and Hur has to help him because he gets tired. So that obviously happens. I think logically it would not be in the middle of the encampment. I think they're fighting the Amalekites outside where they're encamped. Mm-hmm. They meet at a place where there's a plain. They're like, well, how can they fight?
Right.
So there's a lot of hills around here. So you can, pick a spot and say, maybe Moses, could have. Some say maybe it's this plain here and he's up on this ridge behind here. Others say as you're driving in, there's a couple hills. I mean, there's a lot of hills, but the area basically fits no matter what hill you want to pick. You have a plain. Mm-hmm. And you have the 1 to 2 million Israelites encamping, you have the animals, and you have a battle with the Amalekites.
After that, we climb to the rock. And you can see the size of people compared to the rock. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Right. So this is what you see from being up there. That's the road we drove through. And indeed, large plains around. It says in 1 Corinthians 10 that now I would not have you ignorant brothers, that our fathers were all under the cloud and all passed through the sea and were all baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea, and all ate the same spiritual food and all drank the same spiritual drink, for they drank of a spiritual rock that followed them, and the rock was Christ. So this is a projection of who Messiah is. And I would just be there in awe, speechless, just glorifying Jehovah.
Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art.
We stayed in the area until dark. We drove a short distance to see petroglyphs. All these rocks on the left and right. Now it's an archaeological site as well, where we could see Hebrew letters, animals. It's like the Israelites told the kids, hey kids, it's drawing time, go out and draw. So they're all over the rocks here. So that's the area around the split rock. It's the back of the split rock right here, and this is a typical Bedouin tent. And now we go to the mountain.
Phyllis.
This will be when the Sinai mountain first came into our view, just around the bend. Oops.
Phyllis. Yeah, so you're seeing Jebel Haifa, Haifa, which is the peak to the south of Makla. It's the first part of it. As soon as we round this corner, you will see the ridge of the peak that you'll be climbing. You're looking at the north side. You'll see the north peak, which is the tallest one of Makla too. You can see the Israelites walking through there, and then God's presence they had landing on the mountains there, the different peaks. There it is.
Which one?
That, the three kind of hump one, that's all, usually it's black, but it's hazy. You can kind of see the black line below it, the granite and the black. That's what you'll be up on top of tomorrow by hopefully 2 or 3 o'clock. We hike up this way, so we're from the east going up. So all the photos you see on the internet, like especially the Caldwell's, the older ones, it's always from this side looking at it. You see the black peak ahead of you.
Okay.
So you're down at the base looking at it. You're not looking this way at it. This way you're seeing like the whole north side of the southern peaks. The north peak, which is a separate mountain peak, is behind this hill. We'll see that next.
So most of us climbed here to the first summit, and halfway there is the plateau we'll see. And just 5 of us, we continued and we climbed the second peak and the third peak. So this was evening and we camped. So here's the blackened peak. And here's the area where Elijah's cave is. So have in mind these boulders, which is at the edge of the plateau, because we'll see them again. And this is the tents. They provided air mattress and pillow and sleeping bag. And this is a tent, like a meeting tent where we met and sat down for stories and had supper. And the camp was by, this pile of rocks. This is the golden calf altar. And right here, it's olive grove. Remember this because we will see the olive grove from up top the mountain, and then we can locate where the golden calf altar is from up the mountain.
Golden calf altar, and we're camping right at the base of the mountain. This is our camp site, and there is the summit we'll climb. Elijah's cave is on this peak. We'll do that tomorrow. So this is our surroundings. And back to the Golden Calf altar.
And this is inside the meeting tent. It's like Jehovah threw a banquet for us. We had a great supper here. The 3 ladies in the group. And when they got supper, put the plastic down to keep it clean. And we had goat kebab and those typical pitas and salad and hummus. And of course, they bring pap for the Westerners. They learned what the Westerners like. And this is next morning. I'm equipped. I had a hydration pack with 2 liters water and 600 more milliliters. They said you need to have like about 3 liters of water for the whole day up and down the mountain. So we drove a little closer. We parked the cars here. This is our team.
It's 8:34 local time and we start the climb to Sinai. There we go. Twentieth of March 2023.
Petroglyphs. Looks like people are worshiping the animals.
Yeah, this is just broken down granite.
So we came closer to the base of the mountain, and there are remains here of the covenant altar that Jehovah did with the people, like where they got married. And there's this animal corral.
Oh, if everyone be quiet, some of the videographers could get the sound of the water. That is perfect. Oh, it's over there.
This is where the animals will come out one by one, be slaughtered here, and this is possibly the altar.
Excavations were done and animal ashes were found indeed in this area where the altar was, and the 12 pillars that represented the 12 tribes of Israel, and Moses sprinkled to ratify the covenant. So there is a spring by the mountain. In the hot summer is dried up, but when we were there was water because Moses needed a lot of water for the sacrifices.
There's a spring.
So we started to climb, and time to time I would turn and take pictures of the valley where the Israelites were encamped. So you can see here like a V shape is the animal corral. So this is how you climb. There's no path. You just help yourself through the rocks, and we were recommended to have gloves to protect our palms.
Miles, did you see this other skull down here? Yeah.
Halfway to the plateau,
5 feet from you. Oh, no way. Oh, yeah.
amongst these rocks.
Plants. So we had a break here, and you can see the water erosion from the spring flying by the mountain. And right here, where my cursor is that olive grove, and by it, it's the golden calf altar. So, but at that time, the tents were taken down. We only needed them for the night. So across from the olive groves is the golden calf altar. You can see it from the top.
Almost the plateau through that view niche. We're coming over to the plateau and we can see the Blackened Peak. 3 hours from the parking lot. 3 hours into the plateau, you can see the Blackened Peak. Awesome mountain, I love it. Thank you, Father.
Whoa, yeah.
And we came from there.
So in this rock, there's a short shofar that is hidden there, and Andrew knew about it. I learned from Joe that Keith Johnson put it there, and we could blow it.
From the plateau, we start the climb of the summit, 11:30 local time. Let's go.
So this is the plateau, looking back and taking a picture of it. And these are those boulders. Keep them in mind because that's the edge of the plateau. And here, if you can spot this green spot again, it's by the golden calf altar. So right here is the golden calf altar. So imagine when Moses comes down, Joshua is waiting for him on the plateau here, and Moses hear the people dancing and partying. Good acoustic. And now we come into the area of the blackened rocks.
That's naturally formed like this. There are no volcanoes around here. This is why we came. Because of God's judgment on man. This is just spectacular. This is where the Ten Commandments come from for my friends and loved ones that don't know. This mountain was on fire for 40 days and Moses brought the tablets down from here. There's so much more. But this is why we came, and this is why we're going up.
We're coming into the Black Rocks area. Going to the top. We are on the Blackened Peak area.
You notice here is where the golden calf altar is.
So look how black that area is, and also here. 2 hours from the plateau.
And now I start to come across the rocks that have blue formation in them. Only closer to the top. I haven't seen them anywhere else.
More blowing in the rocks.
It says that the sapphire blue was under the feet of Yehovah when his presence was manifested. So imagine 3,500 years of storms and weather, and I believe it's all spread around.
Far back.
There's snow on Mount Sinai in Saudi Arabia. There's the very top over there. The very top. What a straight cut on top of Mount Sinai in the ancient Median. March 20th, 2023. And the very, very top. From the top of Jabal Makla in ancient Median, top of Mount Sinai. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Hanenu vehanenu, ki hem banu masim, aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu, v'hoshienu.
After I sang this song, I came up. There it is. So the rock is not very big, but this formation in floral design is amazing. And then from the rock here with the blue floral design, right here got on the top of the.
Okay, this is the very, very top.
Some of the rocks are black mineral, probably basalt, but there's an exterior. You can see there's a sheen on the rocks that's black, and some of them that we saw down further. In fact, you can see it on some of these rocks. There's a sheen to them that is a coating on the outside of the rock. Something has happened to the exterior of these rocks. Now, it could be intense heat that kind of partially liquefied it and then it solidified. Or it might be there's a kind of iron oxide that isn't red, it's black. And that could be it as well. And without a chemical analysis, I wouldn't know. But these rocks are unique. There's something unique about them. What's really interesting is that why would there just be this iron oxide just up here, just this layer? It's kind of odd.
that he believed was Mount Sinai. And so he had, in 84 he came here with his sons, then he came here in 85 again to check it out. What else? The marble you see at the base, and we'll talk about the whole altar of Moses, theory and what the marble are. But this white vein up here is marble. There's two white veins. It goes all the way down there. You can see a whole clump down there in the ravine, and that's where actually the quarry's at. There's a couple unfinished round columns down there. There's parts of the ancient road going down through the ravine.
We're heading for more peaks to climb. We will see the Red Sea from the next peak.
He already inquired.
Almost at the top of the second peak. Second peak.
This is the middle one. There's a nice long valley. This slopes up to the last.
And there's the first peak.
Even from here, you can see that olive grove and the golden calf altar.
On top of the second peak. So the guys on the second peak.
Yeah, look at this view. So this middle valley, we slept up there. And my friends did, and I slept on the top.
And over this ridge, we hope to see the Red Sea, Gulf of Aqaba.
At the very bottom of the northern fence.
Okay, this is what we're aiming for. And then the guys are coming.
Much as I enjoyed the company of the rest of the group, I just wanted to spend time alone with Jehovah. It was so special to be there. I just wanted to hug every rock. And we came to a second mini plateau.
Another mini plateau. And a different type of rock. Yeah, maybe Moses camped here.
This rock I always thought was interesting.
A helicopter can easily be landed here. It's neat. More plants.
We're coming.
So this is the last video, and I don't know what to expect. I'm filming as I'm going. Will be the last summit.
Up on the third peak today in the range of mountains of Jabal al-Laz in ancient Midian, the mountain of Jehovah, all the black rocks. It's his presence coming down in fire. From here, if it's not too hazy, we shall see the Gulf of Aqaba. There you go. The last summit for today. Wow. Okay. It's hazy, yet it's so beautiful.
Some pictures from there. So if you remember at the beginning when we were at the Vista Point in Jethro's town and Andrew was pointing toward the mountain range, so it's now over there, the other side. This is a happy kid at the end of the candy store. I was so happy and I was in awe. So it took 5.5 hours to go. This is a desert tulip. And then 5.5 more hours to come back where we started. So this is back to, this is the animal corral and the remains of the marriage covenant altar here. So this is when we made it back to the base. So welcome to the mountain of Jehovah. Now you saw it. And we went to the golden calf altar on purpose on a different day.
Wow. devices.
It's
natural
flat on
platform.
the top.
Yeah, you can put an altar on top or in front of it, or put the cow up there and the altar at the base.
Oh, when you stand up there, it's like a perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, the easiest way to get to the top is on the other side. If you're on this side, you can pull yourself up. But the easiest way is around the corner. Now, if you're going to go this way, I know there are small different. Over here are the rare red painted ones called pictograms. So there's like two red painted cows right here, and they're very rare because they weather easily. So you usually find them in overhangs, protected from the elements. Right up there, you can kind of see the two figures. That overhang. Actually, a couple people. You come up there, go through here, and they put them straight.
So these are in paint pictograms. And petroglyphs of the Egyptian idols. None of this is Saudi style or Midianite style. All of this is Egyptian style as a proof that the Israelites were there.
Egyptian style. Later, like by 2003, when they published their Al-Bid book, which is the book, I'll send you guys the link. They try to say, Moses was never here. And they put everything between Neolithic, which is Stone Age, or Nabatean, which is, between the Old and New Testament and time of Christ. So, and they say those are the two time periods you have in Northwest Arabia. So all the Old Testament they ignore in this official Saudi publication. And they try to say these are Neolithic, Stone Age. They changed their story by then. But again, it's hard to date a rock art. Now, for those who didn't see, there are two red painted ones and some figures.
So you can see here the two boulders that are at the edge of the plateau, and then the first blackened peak. The plateau would be here. So you know where you are now.
Red pictograms. And so they say that if they can analyze the red paint, if it has organics in it, then you could possibly date those. Otherwise, these are the red painted ones. You can use carbon dating on.
Carbon dating.
Yeah, if you put in if they use whatever they put in the red paint, besides the.
So then we got on top, and there is a couple of dents on top. It says Moses grounded and made the golden calf into a powder. These are more pictograms. So I'm on top now and taking this clip, and you see again these machineries working on the roads right there in the area.
Take a sip. I know you see the gray.
From the top of the golden calf altar, and there's the mountain where the Elijah's cave, blackened tip.
It's interesting that that's the last bit of strip.
That's the farm where we had our tents on the first night.
Each direction.
Olive Grove.
Yeah, here just enough time to say we're here when it was dirt.
Yeah, what do you guys think about it, this being the high?
So imagine millions and millions of tents of the Israelites camping in this area. That's a dent, and another one. So golden calf altar being here following these dots, there's a graveyard, a massive graveyard. There's no explanation other than that that died on the day of worshiping the calf. The plague came on them. Is that they are buried here? It's a little. It has to be out of the camp. Nobody buries the dead in the camp, and it has to be a little elevated so the flood flushes don't wash away the graves. So in the area, there's no archaeological proofs of any settlements or villages to explain why a massive graveyard would be there. So it's because of the 3,000 that died that day. And that's the the massive graveyard with these stones standing. It's massive. They fenced it. They are going to research it.
Oh, he won't talk about it.
Yeah, that's the. We found some of it kind of thing, but what you found? It could be. I know, it looks like an area.
So another day we went back to the mountain to do the climb into Elijah's cave, which is right here, this black dot. There's a grotto beneath, which is something small, but the cave is right here.
Halfway to the cave of Elijah. Camping Valley, Altar of Moses.
This is especially for Kurt. Very interesting. I saw it in another place when we did the Sinai climb. It's like marble between the rocks and it's going a long way.
On the way to Cave of Elijah, very interesting formation in the mountain. Like it's marble between granite. So the cave is not far from here.
This lady, she got first into the cave, and at some point I filmed her husband asking her something, and I was way back, and we could hear her so clearly from the cave. It's amazing.
We made better time today. Is that going down there to go to Kraus? She could be sitting there in the rock. Oh no, I see her right on the road.
Elijah's cave.
David, taking Mom back, the long road, back to the car. What do you think, honey?
That it's possible that Elijah sat here looking out, waiting for God to show himself, and all that came in front of the cave, and he watched in wonder as he watched thunder and lightning and clouds and wind go past.
The story is in 1 Kings 19.
Elijah's cave. Encampment plain.
Fine,
I asked my team if they could be quiet so I could record the song for 30 seconds. And not knowing, but in faith, a month from this day, I was in Jerusalem for Shavuot.
Fine, Lord, get ready.
Shalom from the cave of Elijah on the mountain of God in Sinai. Pray for the peace of Yerushalayim. Pray for the peace of Yerushalayim. Pray for the peace of Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim shall live in peace. Shalom, 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 Yerushalayim.
Go.
This is the last time our team was together. From here, one car went to Jordan, and we quickly learned a song to say, I want to thank you very kindly for this special tour.
I wanna thank you.
I wanna thank you. I wanna thank you. I wanna thank you. I wanna thank you very kindly for the special tour. I wanna thank you very kindly for the special tour. I wanna thank you very kindly for the special tour. I wanna thank you very kindly for the special tour. I wanna thank you very kindly for this special tour.
Yes. Thank you, Rebecca. You got all that sound?
So then we drove to Tabuk, and this is more of a desert with red sandy rock.